How does that look, Ryan, the frame there? Could be cool to like move in a little bit to it. Do you have the iPad? Yeah. No, Cameron's. Welcome to another behind the scenes set. Today we're at Midnight Hour Studios in Ottawa and we've dressed this studio like a living room. So we've brought together some of our best crew to put this set together. We're doing a really impactful video that's gonna run as a pre-roll at a 500-person event called Built to Lead. In this set today, our goal was to create a living room, cozy, home, welcoming environment, and that is what the team has done here. So what you see behind me, look at what it looked like before. This is what it looks like now. I'm gonna have our cinematographer Cameron jump in. He's gonna explain the lighting choices that he made for this set, where they are, why they're there, and show you what it looks like when they're off. And then I'll also have our set dresser slash designer, Anthony Rankin, who has done our massive commercials for us. He's gonna jump in and talk a little bit about all of the things you see behind me. Look at him, just like a spring chicken. So Anthony, you're gonna be in this BTS if you're cool with it. No, you have no choice. Does it sound roughly right, or is it good?
Roughly, this is the set. You're not rolling on that, were you?
I was.
Do I have to sit?
Yeah, I want to get up. Yeah.
Okay, this is a studio, but you wouldn't know that, and that is the best part about a studio, and a little bit of lighting and a little bit of set dressing, so let's take you through it. Obviously, the most important light in any environment is your key source, and I got to play with my new bad boy for the first time. This guy. The P600C is a great light because of how soft it is. Why is that important? Well, especially in this case, filming women, filming skin tones that are very soft, very elegant, you really want to motivate that. You want people to feel empowered, and you do not want to give a hard light source that shows imperfection, shows things that people don't necessarily want to show. So a soft light source makes it so you don't get any hard shadows, you don't get contrast, which is basically the difference between bright light and dark shadows. It helps mitigate that line and just make things feel elegant, gives it that little je ne sais quoi. So in a case like this, a big, soft light source is very important to making people feel their best. Nice. If you know anything about lighting, you know about the triangle, you know about trying to get light sources all the way around a subject to create contrast. And in that case, we have this right here, which we're using as our hair light. This is just the Amaran 2 PT4C. We have the grid on it. This allows us to make it extremely directional and to kind of separate the subject a little bit from the background. That leads us to the next thing, our background. This background, ultimately, we would have had a lot more control with it because we got all kinds of weird stuff going on now with the day sunlight coming in at this angle. We don't really have control over this. Ultimately, what we should have done is we should have put a big diffusion out there to separate the sunlight from the artificial light that we're bringing in and to sort of make a separation between the artificial light that's hitting the wall and the actual sunlight that's hitting the floor. Outside, we have two 600Xs, which are both great units. Ramsey and I both own them, love them, we use them all the time. A 1200 potentially would have been better here, but the two 600s work well. There's a Fresnel on one and a dish on the other, and the idea behind that is it's sort of bringing up the ambience and giving us this lovely little hit on the wall here. So we're kind of doing like a weird, funny word for it, cookalorus, but you can call it a cookie. We're doing a similar effect to that by putting this plant here. It gives texture on the wall. And like I was saying earlier about the dish, because the dish is not as hard of a source, you get this nice soft contrast. And then we also have Fresnel lens, or Fresnel if you're an idiot, and that is this sort of harder shadow that's hitting the wall here. Okay, yeah, and then I'll wrap it up. Not as exciting. We also have some negative right here, which is just giving us that contrast that I keep talking about, which is just the separation on the side of the face. Make it just feel that little je ne sais quoi, you know what I'm saying? Thanks for checking out the lighting. On to the next guy. He's way cooler than me.
So Ramsey hit me up and asked me to work on another project. We had to make it look like a living room, and he said, oh, by the way, it's an empty space. So we had to bring a lot of this stuff in. Honestly, that happens a lot of the case when you're working as a designer or an art director, set dresser. You often have to make places look like something else that's totally different. Luckily, we had a lot of this stuff kicking around already, and we had to bring some other stuff in. The number one thing when you're doing a set like this is shears. Every DOP I've ever worked with, cinematographer, they always want shears. It acts as a form of diffusion, hides everything that's going on outside. You always have to have a lot of textures and different pops of colors. So we had this black couch in here already, and then we brought in these throws and pillows, colors, some lines. Fake plants are often used. They're there all the time. That's a nice pop of green color. The little bit of natural feeling to it. And then wall art. We use some 3M command strips to stick those to the wall. That way it's not damaging the wall, and it gives you some nice pops of color in the back and some graphics there. Often you'll pre-dress the set, put everything's in its place, but you're not dressing for the human eye, you're dressing for the camera. So we'll put everything in its relative place, and then it's a lot of running up and moving something a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, going to the camera, looking at it and going, oh, I liked it better where it was originally, and putting it back to exactly where it was before. Often you'll decorate your home in a way that you like, but it's not necessarily the right way to do it for the camera. Sometimes things will be, for instance, we have this plant on an apple box. That's just to raise it up behind the subject so that it gets in the frame. You wouldn't put a plant on a wooden box like that normally, and you don't see that in the frame, but it adds such another layer to it in the backdrop by having it there.
And lastly, when it comes to this interview setup, we're capturing audio overhead with a boom mic. We did do our best to treat the area with some sound blankets on the floor, sound blanket being hung up behind the camera. If you give the camera a slight tilt up, you can lower this microphone quite close in, and always tell your subjects to not yell and project their voice, because that creates reverb in the room. We ran a lav mic like the one I have on right now. We had 2 sources of audio, and there's a helicopter flying over. Finally, the cameras. So in this case, we're running double Blackmagic, the Pocket 6K full frame. We got the Pocket 6K Pro. It's not really super important what cameras we're using. It's more so the focal lengths on each one. So our main shot is a wide shot that's dead on. Our subject in this case, we want them to have a feeling of authority, so they're looking straight into the camera. And then our B camera shot is a much tighter lens. It's on a 75mm, and it's also a cropped sensor, so it punches us into around 100mm. For the first time ever, actually, we're running our new set of lenses, which is the DZO Film Vespid Prime version 1s. We have a 50mm on the A cam and a 75mm on the B cam. These are full metal construction. They're geared for focus motors, fairly lightweight. So my goal with these lenses was to have an in-house cinema lens that could also be used on a gimbal. Has a swappable lens mount, so we could use them on Blackmagics, we could use them on Sonys. They're an all-around great image, and honestly, bang for buck. For the foreseeable future, we're gonna be using these. And because they're discontinued, they're pretty cheap right now. So if you're interested in getting them, here's my recommendation. They're awesome. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it helps you to see what's possible in a space. This has been at our studios. This is a space that you can rent in Ottawa. It is a blank canvas space. As you can see, with a couple small tools, a good team, and a vision, you can put absolutely anything together. If this video left you value, no. So let us know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you on another video. Bye.